Well, thank you, Proper. It's about time we get things ready for week number 2 of College Con. My name is Seymour, and with me, the lovely, as ever, McCornmeal. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Just glad to be on the desk with you for the first time this year. We haven't got to cast any MW2 together, so it's an exciting time here. But no, we got a great slate of matches up tonight. Back for another week of College Con already. It doesn't seem like it was all that long ago. I was back up here with Cash for week 1, so it's going to be a fun week.
And last week, I mean, we just got to hear all those matches. Crazy. You got to cast some of them, too. I mean, that Akron Brock game, a banger all the way to Game 5. Crazy. I mean, Proper was breaking it down fully, but I mean, how are you feeling about those matches last week to start off the year?
I mean, since we get to see Akron again tonight, it's going to be great to see, where they went from last week and how they're going to be able to kind of assimilate that into their gameplay this week. But I feel like just kind of having that off the back burner of, a slow start to that series and then being able to come off a reverse sweep, it's going to give them so much momentum going into this week. We're in store for quite the matchup in our first series.
Yes, we are. And you said it yourself. We got our first series coming up soon. We'll break it down in a moment. But for a second, I do want to give a big shout out and a thank you to our sponsor, America's Navy. This couldn't have been done without them. And if you want to check them out, the Navy allows you to earn a college education at their expense when you enlist. You can attend classes even while you're on ship. The Navy also offers world-class training using cutting-edge equipment and technology to prepare enlisted men and women to maximize their potential. So go show some love to our presenting sponsors, American Navy. Couldn't be done without them. Corin, let's talk about this tonight. We got a big lineup. We got Akron Rutgers, match 1. Alabama Crimson Newberry, match number 2. High Point versus James Madison, match number 3. But before we get to those last ones, let's talk a little bit about the Akron Zips versus Rutgers Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what is there not to say about this Akron Zips team from last week? They come off of that great reverse sweep, as we already hit on the top of the show. But realistically speaking, I think this goes to show a lot of the strengths about Akron that we didn't previously see within week 1. They had that matchup against Farmingdale, which kind of went to the wayside. They lost that 1-3, only taking the control in that series. And then you go up against a team where, you're back 0-2. Everybody's thinking, damn, is Akron going to be a team that really going to be something to watch out for this year? Because, losing to the Brock Bandits roster, not to say that they're a bad team, but it was a bit shocking and almost surprising to a lot of people. But that control came around, still undefeated on the season in the mode. They were able to reverse sweep them all the way through that search and destroy, which was, to a lot of people, pretty shut and tight at the very end of the series. And now they're staring at back at a 1-1 record. At 500, this would be a great opportunity for them to take that next step and get above 500 for the first time this season.
Yeah, let's talk about the roster for Akron, though, because, this is a team who last year it was kind of solidified that this is like a main name in collegiate Call of Duty esports. But this year, a little bit of a roster change that we did see. Elite and Thieves, we still get to see them. But Kaiser and Aiden come into the mix. And it's an interesting talking point for Akron because last year they were number 25 in the power rankings. They finished 17-3 in the regular season. They even make it to top 32 in the playoffs. But this year, with this brand new roster, they're looking at number 18 in the power rankings, which was released today.
Yeah, the power rankings, and for everybody that is just seeing them on Twitter going live and whatnot, let me kind of break this down for you in a way that you can understand it. You're going to see some teams in there that probably have 0 losses, and that ties into the factor of, yes, they might have lost a series or might have lost 2 series, whatever. Namely, I'm just going to use Ottawa as an example. Ottawa losing that first series, they lost to Northwood, who's the number 1 ranked team. So they're not going to get knocked out of the top 25 or knocked down a serious peg in the power rankings because they're still one of the top teams inside of the CCL. They just lost to the overall number 1 team. So that's why strength of schedule matters when it comes to the top 25 and why you might see teams with a couple of losses in there also still being put pretty high up on the tier list. But besides that, yes, Akron being up at number 18, it's great. Last year, they were kind of a fringe top 25 team. Every time they got in, it seemed like they lost their next match. They got bounced out. Then everybody was like, is Akron frauds? And they were like, no, we're going to bounce back in. They get back in. Then they bounced out. And so finishing top 32, pretty standard, kind of where they were the whole year. Low-key, I think this roster probably takes things a step in the right direction, though. Elite was playing out of his mind at the tail end of the series last week. Thieves coming back as the captain from last year. Kaiser's been great, old Wester guy. And She Loves Aiden, great name, but also a great player. He had a bit of a rough week last week, but I think he'll turn things around this week as they start getting gelled as a roster.
Well, it's only up from there for Akron. Let's take a look at their opponent for today, Rutgers Esports. Big change for this school going into the year. It's not the start I guess they would want to have. I mean, an 0-1 start to the year right now in 2023. Last year, they were a number 10 power ranking team. This year, they don't even find themselves in the power rankings right off the bat, Corn. So, looking at this roster, Ryuga, Jayhem, Hybrid, Shatter, I mean, this is where the skill ramps up. And a game against Akron today is where they can really prove themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, when you come off of a season where you had high aspirations and you finished with great results, it's always difficult seeing a regression in the team. And that's not to say that they haven't really, played anybody that hasn't been substantial in their opponent's strength. They lost to Farmingdale. Sure, it was an 0-3, but it was a decently close series overall. I don't think anybody's looking at this team and saying, they're going to fall short again this year after one match. But a tough matchup against this Akron roster definitely going to kind of put a damper on things if they fall, especially if it's, not a close series, if it's an 0-3, a 1-3 that doesn't really show any sort of strength out of this Rutgers roster. I don't want to necessarily put them down a peg, but they don't necessarily seem to have that same roster power that they did last year. This is going to be a big test for them today.
It is, and when we kind of break down the head-to-head between both of these teams, because it's only week 2, there's not too many head-to-heads to go by. I mean, Akron 1-1, Rutgers 0-1. Luckily, Corn, they've already played a team and have a similar matchup. It was Farmingdale State that they both went up against. 0-3 loss for Rutgers, a 1-3 loss for Akron and Farmingdale. I mean, they really proved themselves between both of these rosters, but a loss against this kind of shows the similarities when we break it down. Akron 1-3 in a hard point, and then you got Rutgers 0-1 across the board. You definitely have a Rutgers esports team that still needs to prove themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they only played one series against a consensus, almost top 10 team in the CCL this season. So I'm not really going to base any of my judgmental stuff off of this. I'm going to wait until we get to the actual game and series to see that. But I think what stands out for me, at least to Akron, is, yes, they could have lost 0-3 to Farmingdale, but they didn't. They won that control, forced them at 4, and they're still undefeated in the mode. And that's kind of what I hinted at the top of the show, which is so important to the Zips team because of what it means throughout an entire complex series. If you go down 0-2, there's still a possibility that you're able to have a reverse sweep. You don't want to rely on that. But again, if you want to talk about a Neslo series where you've been good in S&D, you've looked a little off at hardpoint, and sometimes if you're looking at a 2-3-5 series, you don't want to necessarily have to pin it on that. And I think Akron can easily win a couple of hard points and a couple of respawns out of the rip. But regardless of that fact, control is going to be their bread and butter mode that they're going to need to look to throughout the entirety of the series. And Rutgers can, maybe capitalize and steal that off of them if they try.
Well, we already got the action ready to go. We're going to skip right into Mercado Hardpoint for a map one between both of them. Akron starting off from the better side of the map. You want that P2 rotation already in your control. Thieves soaking up as much hill time as you can before broken for Rutgers right away. So if you're Rutgers, if you're looking at the red arrows, they do exactly what they needed to do. Off the break, they take control of that P2 rotation. They flood through Akron, and now they have a pretty solid setup, Corn.
It was just a nice rotation off of spawn. You send everybody south on the map. You make sure that you cover the entire spread of the map, put yourselves in good positions for trades, and that just opens up the entirety of the spawns for P2. So, I mean, now you're okay with giving up the back 15 here as long as you can hold down the bottom of Cantina. And with Hybrid making a route through the middle of the map and everybody winning their gunfights around, it's really no surprise that they're going to be able to hold down to the bottom of Cantina, at least for the first 10-15.
And what a great start here from Rutgers, a 21-10. Even starting on the bad side, you can look at Akron looking from the outside in. They need a way, and that might be it. Big win on a chatter, opens up that back alley setup, but now getting into it is where the hard part is. You got Jayhem watching that front door, lead another big win on the inside, finds 2 with a snap to Hybrid, and the break immediately from Akron. Can they hold on, though, with Ryuga up top on a 4-spree?
I mean, there's no reason that we were talking about Elite coming into this series. He has been that kind of centerpiece, that rock and stone that Akron were holding on to in the tail end of that last series. Thieves, a nice little break in. There's going to snap for 2. Hybrid with a nice trade is going to get the reclaim of the time. But, I mean, Rutgers, realistically, the key to this series, at least initially, is going to be shutting down Elite, making sure he's not able to find his will and way around the map. And if you're able to do that early on and make sure you can get yourself out into a substantial lead without anybody else really getting and stepping up for time, you're looking good for a map 1 win.
Well, Chatter's going to take a look in. Doesn't know Aiden's just chilling in the corner waiting for this. Akron with a good setup to P3, and this is where teams, a lot of times struggle for this break, especially when Akron already has this great setup. They can just box out their enemy from either side, make sure that Rutgers cannot get any, sights into this. With the doors closed, Rutgers, they have no way to take these early gunfights. They're going to have to force their way in through these doors, and Chatter on the backside just gets shut down again. Aiden just watching them like a hawk, and this is 42 seconds that Akron relatively could find all 60.
I mean, realistically, relatively no contestants here for the first 20 seconds. You're looking for another 20 here where Rutgers haven't been able to get any kills, and they're still not able to find anything. Sure, Jay's going to be able to find one across the map. Ryuga's there as well, but as long as Aiden gets this trade here and can find the second one coming through the doorway, this scrap time should be yours because you don't see anybody else from Rutgers really trying to make this in a beautiful snap across the way. Aiden on 4 in a row. Last 20 seconds going to go the way of Akron. They're on the rotation as well, winning gunfights.
Yeah, just holding things down at P3, and you talked about Elite. I felt like he didn't even need to rotate over there at all. He's just been chilling on this side of the map, holding down Canteen, making sure that Rutgers can't rotate over to Barber. 4 spree for himself. Now looking for that cruise missile. One more kill is going to lock down that kill streak. And on a map like Mercado, I mean, that kill streak can go a long way, especially in MW2, when that information is so needed. Thieves on 5 as well. He's going to have a cruise missile. Akron started to heat up. And, you know, for Rutgers, with the hot start that they had, this is looking a little bit scary now.
I mean, the entirety of Akron was on a 15 kill streak between every single person. They hadn't lost a life at about 60 seconds of time on back into the rotation from the 20 seconds of bottom warehouse, and now over to Cantina here. So it's just like, I mean, you look to Elite, who's on 7 in a row. I said you had to shut him down. Brother, 15 and 5 now. Oh, dude, if he sprays the second on Chatter there, things get really shaky real quick.
Well, Chatter finds a big 2 there. That is, I guess, they're cauterizing the wound that was just blown open by Akron since B3. You know, you're going to get the last 12 seconds here. You're going to try to close this gap to 104 as best as you can, but this rotation is so important. Hybrid's going to get caught in the stun. It's going to leave his teammate out in the open. Hybrid team kill onto Ryuga. That's going to leave him a little high and dry, and for Thieves to line up too. He's got the help of Elite, but it's not needed. They have the 2 streaks. They have the hill in their hands. Rotation from Warehouse, front Rutgers looking for this early break. Elite just has to stay alive at this point. He's going to get away. Contention's in, but all the kills coming through from Akron. It's 3 in a row to lock it down.
You have to find Elite in that position in the corner. It was down to what, 5 HP? just hopped all the way across, enjoyed his merry skip all the way back over to the hard point, the safety and comfort of the reinforcements, and now even another flank starting to make its way and develop through as you're trying to push the spawn back in the opposite way to make sure you're setting up great for the rotation back to P1. This so far from Akron has looked so clean, cut, and concise that Rutgers, even though they got off to that early lead, they haven't had an answer for that late portion of aggression that we've seen, you know, after P3. Akron has all been playing together and flying well. It's beautiful. Bringing a tear to my eye.
It really is. I'm right alongside you with that one. I mean, the zips, it's like they're everywhere but nowhere at the same time. A little bit awkward there from Ryuga. I guess he didn't see Thieves laying down on the ground. That's going to again shut down the rotation for Rutgers Esports, with a chance to really throw a wrench in the operations of Akron for the rotation here over to top Cantina. Elite's going to take a look to the back alley. That's a big 2 from Jayham. Should give numbers to Rutgers for this break, but it's the inside that's going to be the hard part. Aiden gets stunned up. He gets run over. That's Jayham, a big 3 spree to open up Cantina and take control, but they're not able to hold on. Nobody's watching the back alley, and you blink, you miss it. Akron back in. Okay, 30 seconds now for the Zips to pick up.
And I get you're trying to play time there if you're Ryuga, but like you can't just push out of the bottom like that with no reinforcements or help. You have no information on where Akron is playing. You're just throwing your life away at that point, giving them a free 30 seconds. And if you're trying to break this back for another hit, maybe going for the last bit of scrap time, there's no reason you should just be hitting that out by yourself. You should be waiting for your team to make that concise hit, and you just don't do that. So sure, you break in for 5 of those seconds there, but you still haven't gotten the rotation to the right side of the map. Rutgers are just on the outside trying to break back in. There's nothing they've been able to do this whole game.
Rutgers right now, I mean, this is what I look like in my ranked games today. 0-3 was not a good day, and for Rutgers, they need a turnaround soon. Almost on to 200 as Akron looking to put this one away fast. Inside game 1, Kaiser watching the door like a hawk. He's on a 3 spree. Snaps over with the fast nev. Clears off Hybrid. Look at the spawns of those red arrows all the way on the opposite end. And who else but Elite to hunt them down? Another 2-piece. Slows down Rutgers through the middle of the map. You're going to give up this 25 seconds. Barring Chatter makes a big play around this back alley. He's going to clear the hill for now. I mean, I guess if you're a big takeaway here is Akron's not getting that scrap time.
I mean, Aiden tries to snap across there, but what I'm seeing right now from this Akron roster is I'm seeing a completely different hard point than what we saw last week against Brock. This is so well put together. Everybody is always in a position for a trade. Everybody's doubling things up, but realistically, they're just winning their one-on-one gunfights when they need to around the map, whether it be on rotation, whether it be in towards the middle of the map. It all falls on the hands of Elite and Thieves right now, who, again, have duoed throughout the entirety of this early season, but they look so strong together. More importantly to me, this Rutgers fall off from last year is so apparent.
Well, Team Nate there from Chatter and Akron just looking to put this one away. Still, only 30 seconds that you can gain here for Akron to grip this game in your own hands and start strong in this series. But I mean, we talked about at the start of this map how good Rutgers looked from P1 to P2. If they can put that one together, they can get a good 60 here in the second hill. You might be looking at a slow but surely comeback. It's the rotation at P3 that really worries me with how strong Akron looked back at Tin.
Hold this down. The bottom of Cantina. I mean, it feels like a bare minimum 60-second hold that you need here. You got Chatter looking for the barrel here. Touch the wall, won't be able to find anything, but he will be able to snap to that player eventually. But, I mean, still down by over 100 points. Gunfights haven't been going your way. You have a couple players starting to turn up just a little bit, namely Chatter, but it's been uninspired gameplay thus far. Akron have been the better team through and through in this hard point. They're going to break in for free again.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Rutgers. You look at how far they're spawning. They get a split spawn, so they're going to have numbers for the break. It's number 8, Thieves, who's going to watch the cross from Ali. Can't find the first under Ryuga. Inside the hill, it's a lead. Can he shut this one down? No, J-Ham may have just saved the day. Chatter alongside him, holding strong at P2, 240 to 134. Everybody racing to P3. Akron already set up.
All depends on these couple of crucial kills at the very beginning. Who's going to be your first point of contact on Rutgers? Who's going to be able to get into the zone as quickly as possible? J-Ham might have made a costly mistake there. He's going to break on in towards the hill. Sprayed immediately. Akron, here to hold.
Hybrid, 1 HP. Kaiser from up top. 9 seconds left. Everybody spawning all the way over towards yellow for the side of Rutgers. They have to run. They have to get in. The dive in from Chatter. He's going to fall. Elite shuts him down. A cruise missile from up top. And Akron strike first.
Open, shut, and close. That's how Akron like to do business. The beginning of the game didn't look so great. Rutgers had that great break over towards P2 off the bad spawn side, but after that point happened, Akron started to get on their roll. There was 3 different players who were on 4 in a row, and then an eventual 15-team spree where they didn't die for about 45, almost a minute of time throughout the entirety of the game right there. And that just goes to show the prominence in the power that we have from this Akron Zips roster. Coming into the series, kind of the keys to victory. We're like, all right, Akron, you need to take your respawns, but you need to take that control if things get out of hand early on. Your search and destroys have been pretty decent so far amongst your peers, but I mean, GG, I guess. Rutgers need to do something quickly if they want to resurrect the series.
When you have Elite halfway through the first rotations, 15-5, ending the game 33-15. Those are absurd numbers. I mean, Elite, such a good pickup for Akron going into the 2023 year. I mean, alongside Thieves, they look like the dynamic duo for this team that is going to be hard to beat, hard to combat, I guess, with that much pressure. And, you know, for this region as well, you know, may very well be the thing that lifts Akron Zips into an even higher spot, whether it's the power rankings or in these regular season rankings. You know, this Akron Zips roster looks like one that I'm excited to see this story unfold.
I'm as well, and like you hit on Elite once again, and like yeah, he had a great hard point there, but like this is a guy that like back in like the Modern Warfare season, like well I'm talking about like pre-Modern Warfare 19 like type thing, like he was a consistent like I don't know top 32, top 16 kind of challengers player within that year, and so he wasn't bad at the game. He was extremely good. He had a lot of talent, especially because how many people were like playing because of the new CDL changes that year, and then all of a sudden like you know he just kind of I guess took a break from the game or stepped away. He only learned about, like, after roster lock for the season for Vanguard about this Akron Zips team. And then, you know, Brogan was telling me, he was like, hey, you know, like, this guy's cracked. He's a senior, but he's going to fry. So he's only got one chance at the CCL. But he's making it count so far, 33-15 in map number 1. But again, it can't be understated what he did last week against Brock. He had like a 1.4, 1.5 KD or something like that to close out the series in the reverse sweep. It was ridiculous.
And this makes it even harder for Rutgers, you know, moving into the search and destroy when this map 2 almost seems like a map, you know, a must win for them. Last week, you know, their search and destroy didn't look good, but neither did Akron's. You know, I think this is, you know, something that you for sure can sneak away from the Zips if you are Rutgers Esports. We get a look at the maps and modes finally. We're going back to Mercado for map number 2, Alex. And, you know, like I said, I mean, a big head-to-head for today was that Farmingdale State match that both of these teams had. And Akron, they were 3-6 in the search. Rutgers, they were 3-6. You know, not good stats for both teams. So, you know, Rutgers, if they can fix that going into this week, you know, this could be their bounce back that they need.
Yeah, it would be great too. Really, all they need to kind of like, you know, fix from the hard point is really play together more. You allowed Akron to overwhelm you. There were so many times where like it was one person from Akron challenging and it was a double kill, or you got yourselves like early out on rotations, or you're fighting for the back like 15 seconds at a time without sending anybody out to get somewhere across the map where you need to be for good spawns. And it didn't seem like a calculated affair from Rutgers. That's the best way I can put it into words. Going back without a change of scenery, anything like that, and just kind of finding yourselves going back into another or rather the first S&D of the series. If Akron keeps up their same pace of play, they're able to keep flying up the map, and they just hit that A site and on offense almost every single round. I don't see any universe where this Rutgers team is going to be able to stop that push after push, and especially if they can start breaking their way over towards that B bomb site and bottom warehouse. We're looking at a very quick 2-0 up for Akron. Not to put Rutgers on the back burner at all, though, but it's just how the series is going. I just give it to you straight, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they do win this out, they force it to the Hydro. I'm not going to complain. Love to see some Hydro come through for our first game of the day. I know you're a little... Yeah, I would love to see some Hydro come up. I think Brody loves it, too. He says it all the time, and I'm not too far away from that at all. But I'm right alongside you. You know, I guess map number 1, yeah, you know, Rutgers, they had a good start. If they can, you know, maybe put together what they showed at the start of that game and, you know, consistently hold it throughout the rest of it, it's just shutting down Elite and Thieves is the biggest problem you have. We didn't really see them do that at all in game number 1. So Search and Destroy, I guess it's just a step in the direction that we need to see Rutgers take if they want to upset Akron Zips inside of this match today. But hey, I'm just ready to get to these teams, because the one thing for week number 2 that we really need to, I guess, highlight is we're still learning a lot of these rosters. We're still learning how they play, and there's so much that we just don't know about these teams just yet this early into the season. And this matchup for Rutgers, it seems like it's going to be a big one for them.
Yeah. This division in general is difficult to gauge, because from top to bottom, Northeast is like, it seems packed, but at the same time, like, Akron could very easily be like a top team, like top 2, if they wanted to. Rutgers, on the other hand, I don't know, because I kind of want to gauge them in a way of like, how do we tell from not only a series against like a very difficult team against Farmingdale, but like another really good team. Like, I want to see them against like a mid-pack team, like a lowercase team, and see like, okay, well, like, are you gonna be able to win your series? If not, well, GG. But first, the blood goes to the hands of Elite. Go figure. Rutgers already on the back burner. Kaiser sniper in the middle of the map, and the defense is stuck.
Kaiser's going to spot one through dark, misses the shot with the boomstick, but you can see those red arrows a little bit scattered at the moment with how they're going to handle this defense. Bomb not going to get planted at A, even though they have full control of this. Rico wants to dive right into that sniper rifle. Kaiser's going to shut it down, give numbers even farther in favor for Akron for this round number 1, and that's going to leave Chatter all alone with attack. 56 in hand. Probably not the gun you want in a 1v4, but I mean, Chatter, he did look good at the end of that hard point. He's going to find 2 before getting shut down. Makes it a little bit interesting, but again, I mean, it's a 1v4. It's not easy.
When you're talking about statistics, 1v4s don't happen really ever anymore. They used to. But it's an impossible situation to put yourself in, especially when you don't have any sort of control on the site either. Defense there just was slow, and that's kind of what I hit on immediately. Like, as we were talking about this S&D, like if Akron just 4 hits over towards A on offense and keeps that same aggressive pace that we saw on map 1, it's not going to be any different of a round or any different of an outcome for this Rutgers team. You're going to be on the back burner. So you're going to try and do the exact same thing here. It's going to be 2 players over from Akron. Nades and Suns out over the top. Chatter opens with a first blood, but Aiden with a nice little trade there from the Vaznet.
And J-Ham up top barely holds his head. Kaiser just whipped one right through the window. Now the nade hooked up. Not going to land in there just yet. He's still got some time here, but J-Ham's going to dive right in, see if he can take a little bit of an aggressive angle on these players that are sitting towards planters. Kaiser's going to get the stun check, so they definitely know that J-Ham's out there, but it's just who on Rutgers is going to make this first strike to get this bomb down to Kaiser, just watching over the planters. J-Ham feeds it to him.
Nice.
Hybrid's going to have to get aggressive and make the play, and he does. Ryuga watching the flank, takes out the last, and it's a big round there for Rutgers off of Hybrid's two-piece.
Yeah, I mean, you think after Kaiser gets that kill with the sniper, the round basically is going to be over, but I don't know how Hybrid was able to kind of just push his way up through the cracks. You have a player in middle tube that's just waiting for the cut across as well. But Hybrid gets in for free, hops away with 2, and what was quickly from a 3 versus 2 goes in the way of Rutgers in 2v3. They get their first round on the board. That's what I want to see on offense. They played with aggression this time, and they made Akron pay for only sending 2 players over towards the site.
And you got the deadies, you got the trophies, you got everything you need to handle this A attack as best as you can if you're Akron, so they rush over quickly. No pushback from Rutgers at all to get onto site, so they got full control of Canteen. If you're Rutgers, you're looking from the outside in, through tunnel, through banana here if you're Chatter with the sniper. But realistically, just to get into this, you're going to need a flood. Kaiser, luckily for Rutgers, is going to get very over-aggressive, so now Rutgers have that numbers advantage. And Akron still don't have that bomb down. Zips just put themselves in a weird spot.
They really did. That's kind of what I was going to hit on as well. Like, you know, you play with aggression the first round. You try to do the same thing again here, but you give yourselves the in and you push up only as far as you can really guarantee yourself space for. Because now you have somebody hitting on the flank. You can't break out. Yes, that pick is going to help, but that should give at least the go-ahead to Ryuga to say, hey, come on the flank and start hitting it out. 65 HP will get away with his life. Bomb's still trying to work its way up, but you know what, for J-Ham is in the bottom. Traded out without getting the kill onto the elite.
That brings it back to a 2v2. Chatter's going to know the player rushed up towards Planters.
Watching this too.
And he's not going to check him onto the dumpster. That's going to put Ryuga in a situation for another 1v2. Bomb gets planted. Now you just need to wait. Elite, I mean, if you want any player for Zips in this situation, it's going to be him, and Ryuga might just have the read on the wrap over towards tunnel. He's just going to bide his time, wait it out. You still got 30 seconds, plenty of time to win this round if you are Rutgers. But Elite, he's going to do one better. He's going to hit the full wrap. He's calling the bluff on the bomb defuse all the way out here. Ryuga's listening. He waits for Elite to come on the flank, and he shuts it down for Rutgers. A clutch there, and now they take their lead.
That's a hard pill to swallow there, too. Because if you're Elite, you think you're making the right play. You wrap to middle, you see he's not on the bomb yet. You have good checks from that location. You think, okay, well, he's not going to expect me to go all the way around. But as time continues to dwindle down, and Ryuga just knows he needs to get the one-on-one gunfight from somewhere, just hearing him from the back, the loudness equalization definitely comes in and helps right there. A lot back onto the bomb, get the defuse. Just a good round overall. Personally, it's great adjustment from Rutgers. They don't allow Akron to get aggressive like they did the last time. They just kept him kind of contained within the zone.
I mean, that's a big moment there for Ryuga to ice up for the team against one of the best for the Zips. Now with the round advantage, we're back to offense. They looked good. This is where they found their first round win. Now can they replicate that? Chatter off that opening blood for Aiden. Gives a little bit of space now to work with for a bomb plant. You got player number 1, Thieves, on the opposite end towards B. So you have numbers advantage here, and you know that Kaiser's got that sniper rifle out. J-Ham sitting up top. A little bit of team shots onto Elite. Going to give numbers again back towards Rutgers. Both players from Akron back off. Seems like they want to respect this bomb plant. Play for the retake.
Early, I mean, you have to check that little roof right there as you're peeking out. That's a beautiful angle there from Kaiser. This is going to open the site up a little bit. Isolate 2 different players. One's in the top of Cantina. The other one trying to push and wrap around all the way through. Chatter might have a big flank here.
Chatter's going to find both of them looking the wrong way. Excellent communication from Rutgers. He feeds it right to the sub player. They're both in tunnel. 3-1 they go. 7-3 for Chatter so far. Big turnaround from that hard point.
That's just big ups to Chatter. I mean, Chatter's a smart guy. I've watched him for a long time. He's been in the challenger scene for as long as I can remember. He's going to be able to make those big key moment plays, especially knowing that, like, all right, so if nobody's here, where are they going to come from? Well, they're not going to come through the alleyway because it's going to take way too long for them to wrap all the way around. They're going to have to come through the tunnel. Cuts them down from the tunnel. Doesn't even allow his teammate to have another 1 versus 1. I believe we actually lost a player as well. So, yeah, we're going to start taking ourselves out here. So 3-1 up is Rutgers. Not exactly sure what will happen, but of course we'll give you that update when we have it.
Yeah, and you know, it's a little bit unfortunate, but you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. 3-1 for Rutgers at the beginning of that round that we do have to come back to the desk and go back to a little bit of podcast mode here, Corn, which I do love. And, you know, we haven't really talked about the series too much and the longevity of it because, you know, that map one Mercado, that was a strong one from Akron. The second one for Mercado so far, this is Rutgers' big bounce back as their search and destroy has looked a lot better. I mean, he lost to it for Farmingdale, so did Akron, and you know, I said this is one that they can definitely sneak away. You know, is there anything for Akron that you just see is not going right for them?
Again, it doesn't really like surprise me all that much because they only lost what, like, sorry, I shouldn't say only, but they lost 3 rounds straight, right? The first round that they lost was their defense. They were up 3-2. They just let Hybrid slip through the cracks there. That's really not anybody's fault except for whoever was watching through tunnel on the cross there. But I'm pretty sure you'd already pushed up a little bit further anyways. So, you know, it's just timings at that point. But in those last 2 rounds, that offense where they started to hit over towards the A site again, they just got passive. They didn't, because they had 2 people pushed up all the way to the opposite side of the site. They already got across the tunnel. And if you send 2 players out there, you're automatically giving yourself a 2-on-1 gunfight, whether you go to the alleyway or you cut over to the right to get back out to middle map. And when you don't take those gunfights and you don't take advantage of that situation that the opponents are giving you, you're going to get cut down. You allow the flank to come all the way through. You don't take space on the rest of the map. You get shut down on offense. Back to the defensive side again, it just came down to getting picked off first. Chatter's been great here with the aggression on offense for Rutgers. I think he'll continue to do that. He was already at, what, 5-6 kills by the end of the break there. So, I mean, that's what we're looking at overall. Still going to be 3-1 when we restart. Search and Destroy Reconnect is just going to be the lobby gets back up. So just remember in the back of your mind that Rutgers are up 3-1 right now.
And let's talk about, you know, what happens next, you know, if you're Akron here, because let's say, you know, hypothetically, you lose the hard point. You got LSELO Control coming up next, and this team is, you know, this team is looking good on Control. Let me tell you that. You know, you know, probably one of Akron Zip's best game modes right now, and I think Rutgers, if you looked, I mean, they looked a little bit worse for wearing that hard point. I'm not sure if they have what it takes to take that map 3. I mean, this is going to definitely be, you know, one where Rutgers might need to, you know, sneak a hard point away. Yeah,
well, and again, like in map 1, there were significant flaws in the way that Rutgers had played around each other. But that's not to say that Akron haven't necessarily had, you know, their fair share of flaws when it comes to hard points or search and destroys. We're seeing that right now. I know I said that, you know, if things didn't change quickly and Rutgers didn't get back on a controllable pace when we got into the search and destroy, that things were going to be very difficult for them going into the second map. But they have been able to right a lot of the wrongs. Sure, a couple of the rounds have come down at good timings for them, but that's what you need when you're playing search and destroy. You're not going to guarantee yourselves great timings every round. You're not going to be able to put yourself in the best position every round. There's no right answer to play a map. We can only just go and base everything that we have off of the trends. So for Rutgers, yes, it's been a great opening couple of rounds for the search and destroy. I usually like to give like a 3-round buffer when I'm talking about, like, you know, what's happening in a good way for each team, because that really gets to show you, like, okay, you get 2 rounds on an offense and defense. That's cool. Then you go back to another offense, though, or another defense, whatever it might be for that 3rd round. And if you can win that, that's when you really have that ball starting to roll and you have been able to best an opposite team 2 times on one consecutive side of the coin. So that's what I've been impressed with Rutgers so far. And if they can get back on this defense here and be able to steal this, well, things could be very, very sweet for them. That would be a 4-1 snipe shot. Going to miss there from Kaiser. Not even a hit marker going to connect. You're going to see that peak yet again.
Oh, somebody else, though, wants to dance with the devil. Risky plays from Rutgers there, going up against Kaiser, who has barely missed before this break. But the plant goes down, and now Rutgers having to look for this retake at full strength for both teams. Nobody on the flank. Kaiser, in fact, is going to shut down the rotation from B onto 1. And as soon as they rush in, they rush right to the Slaughterfest. That is Akron waiting on the offense. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. And again, Rutgers don't send enough forces over to the site to overwhelm Akron, but they did exactly what they needed to do. They pushed up the map, they worked the pick, and once Kaiser was able to find one with the sniper, they immediately knew, all right, well, since we have the bomb down and nobody else has been able to get through the middle of the map, we're golden, because Kaiser locked the entire lane down. It allowed nobody to get through there. They knew they had the free plant, and they could just play back in the Cantina building, put their thumbs up and say, all right, GG. Be what they're looking at, but back to a defensive spot, they can tie this game up easy at 3-3.
Yeah, I don't mind the play to retake that, but they need to dedicate some bodies to get rid of Kaiser in that position, or you're going to get nowhere into the site for free. You got trophies down. Phoebes dies. Not sure what happened to him.
He was trying to jump up top warehouse there, and he fell out of the map.
Oh, unlucky for that one. Elite's at least going to bring this one back to a 3 versus 2. Life differential for Akron. Elite has to back away from the site. Give up this plant. Again, now you're looking for the retake if you're the Zips. Didn't work last time around. You both got caught in tunnel. You need a pick from Kaiser maybe to open things up for Elite, but first you got to wait for this bomb to go down.
Oh, that timing is just so unfortunate. Isn't able to find anything. The glint of the sniper should be spotted out as well, but the repositioning now from Kaiser could net him something good. 45 seconds is going to be left on the clock here. Somebody hops out over towards middle map. First one up to challenge is going to be Elite. He gets a trade, but now it's a 1 versus 2, 1v1.
Oh, sniper's going to land. And Jayhem, you know, Kaiser hopefully finds a Vaznev here, and he does. Pops that dead silence.
Oh, he can win this easy.
Jayhem a little bit out of the information. He has no idea where he's coming from with this dead silence, so Kaiser hunts and he finds him. Jayhem up top. He's going to go down. There's plenty of time for this defuse, and Akron right off that disconnect, right off the getting back into this map, they tie us up 3 apiece.
Yeah, one of the things Cash and I talked about last week when we saw this Akron roster, specifically in Search and Destroy, was Kaiser. Because coming off the back end of working with that Western roster all that time ago, what he was able to learn from that when Search and Destroy was kind of like the focal point in a lot of ways, he was able to bring that to this team, and you can just see the veteranship that he brings when he in terms of the plays that he makes around the map. Things like that, like just being able to play back just a bit, making sure that you're in a position to trade out your teammate who's flying through the middle of the map, popping the dead silence, getting some good timing there, but realistically getting to the one spot of the map where Jayhem doesn't think you're coming from. And that completely opens things up. Another hit back over here. 3 players from defense going to be here from Rutgers. All 3 now from Akron on the way.
Oh, Elite almost finds everybody there. The Semtech's not going to land. In fact, Hybrid has one for Elite. On the other side, Hybrid runs right through. Finally, Aiden's going to shut him down, but the damage has been done, and this is an electrifying round for both sides. Aiden now, can you go big to bring this one back? You have a flank coming through from Rutgers. It's going to be Ryuga looking to shut the door on the rest of this round. Kaiser alone, 9 HP, nowhere to go. He is going to get the regen. On 4 in a row, makes it into a 1 versus 1. This would be not only the round, but a cruise missile for Akron Zips in the remainder of this Search and Destroy, and without dead silence, you're going to know exactly where Kaiser is. The sniper rifle in the back pocket. Who would have guessed? Akron Zips, they take the lead. Big round from Kaiser.
That's why you call him daddy right there. That is why. Boomstick out. Sniper. Peace, man. We'll be seeing you in the next round. 1 versus 3 technical to end things off there. But that's pitch perfect. You escape all the way through the back line. You beat one down with your bare fists in towards the bottom of Cantina. You snap to the second. I thought we might have seen like a second play where Kaiser just is on the staircase somehow winning a gunfight there. But now you have utility. You're up 4-3 now. That reset, I guess, just proved to be like saving grace for this team. I don't know.
Oh, look at that. He
Great
hits
reset.
the ground running. Kaiser almost finding his 7th in the round. I mean, this is Kaiser's world, and we're just living in it. I mean, it is Mercado, which is the market of death. It looks like Kaiser runs the market of death for the moment. Shatter has to pull things back with his Vaznev and maybe looking to get a little bit aggressive up top on the half wall. Doesn't spot anybody over planters. It looks like Akron just playing for the retake. All 3 players, all 3 lanes covered. Ryuga must have heard that door open. He's just going to wait, sit, wait. He loses his team, but 2 versus 1. Can he make this happen for the clutch? Yet again, I mean, Ryuga iced up last time. Against the odds this round. Attack in hand. He finds it off it. Not going to happen. Not going to help at all. And Akron, what a turnaround we have here.
You put yourselves on match point here in the Search and Destroy. But again, that round, first blood went to Rutgers. Akron was able to equalize things out. And then once you put yourselves in positions where you basically cut off the entirety of the rotations, it's just waiting for Rutgers either to make a mistake while planting the bomb or just try to push out and run directly into somebody. Even if you get a trade there, you still put yourselves in a 2 versus 2. You have all the information in the world. And well, since the reset, 7 in a row for Kaiser, 5 and 2 out of Aiden. Elite's on the board as well. They're at 4 and 3. You look to the opposite side of Rutgers. Nobody positive. Another engagement over towards A. There is nobody here. They're trying to work this over towards B. It was a gamble from Rutgers. Might not work. And Kaiser, he's going to make it rain from above.
It's cruise missile time. Death from above we come. Dropping the hammer onto Rutgers. Who's going to fall? Everybody goes inside. And who's waiting for them? It's Elite and Aiden over towards over towards A to clear things out. Kaiser waiting to spawn off that cruise missile. Covers Ryuga on the cross. Jayhem 1 versus 3 for the map loss. Akron looking to go up 2-0 in the series, take match point, and prove that they are worthy of this top 18 spot in the power rankings. Akron Zips, they look undeniable right now. A strong hard point, a strong search and destroy. What a game.
Yeah, I'm shocked right now if I'm Rutgers. you have all the momentum in the world, and then somebody gets disconnected from the game, and now you're at square zero once again, ground zero of the series. You're down 0-2 going into a control, which, hey, statistically speaking and on paper is Akron's best map, and now you have to fight them in a respawn, which already looked tantalizing from the beginning in the first hard point on Mercado. Sure, you finally get your change of scenery and you're going to a new map, but how I mean, just coming from personal experience, I'm a little shocked right now if I'm Rutgers. Hopefully that doesn't really affect things because, well, they need to win the control to keep the series alive.
I don't know. I don't know if the map change is really going to help that much over to El Asilo. I mean, you talk about how good Akron Zips are at this game mode. You know, it's one thing to, to look back at that search and destroy and think, about the what ifs that could have been for Rutgers Esports. They started off so strong again. I mean, they started strong in the hard point too. It's just something happens, midway through these maps. They just fall off, and Akron take control. It's like they get comfortable, they get ready for it, and I mean, Kaiser 9-0, that's going to help you have a flawless, second half of that search and destroy for sure if you're the Akron Zips. But I mean, going into this El Asilo control, you're going to have to hit the absolute regain if you're Rutgers Esports to win a respawn off of this Akron team.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them. But look, backs against the wall, anything's possible, right? So maybe hasn't been a great series so far, but what Akron did last week, they didn't look too good in the first two maps. Maybe it's going to be something similar where forced into a trouble spot where they're risking going down 0-2 early on in the season. Something snaps inside of them, they figure it out, and they're able to take the reins back on the series.
And it's something that we were talking about for these teams before going into the map number 2 is how much they're gonna match up against other teams in this division, because if you're Akron, you still gotta play Fisher, you still gotta play OCSU. There's a lot of tough competition here in the Northeast that can stop Akron from getting into that top 2 spot. For Rutgers though, it's like the thought about where are you gonna lie if you can't beat Akron? How can you match up against the tops for Fisher College or Farmingdale State, which you already lost to? And I think that even though it's week 2, we already get to, see, the outcome of a lot of these rankings, how teams fare up against each other, and for Rutgers Esports, for this new look in 2023, I'm feeling like, this is a team that has a lot to work on right now.
Yeah, they do. And again, it's a long season, but the ending will very quickly sneak up on you. And if you're not ready for that, you could very easily find yourself being a fringe outside playoff team looking at an LCQ type thing. And of course, you don't want to have to fall down that pattern. I don't believe this team will. They'll still be around for playoffs, but it's going to be difficult for them to really start to pitch an effort and even just try to tell people like, hey, we have a chance to win this thing.
Well, last year, I mean, Rutgers Esports, they made top 24 playoffs. They made it deep into the run, and a lot of teams in the 2022 season over in Vanguard, a lot of teams that showed up in the LCQ were a lot of dark horse teams who, maybe couldn't have found it out at the start of the year, but towards the end, towards that LCQ, they started piecing things together, and it was a big what if, what we're getting, and that's why I just need to wait and see, when we get to that portion of the day to see what we get out of them, Corn, because that LCQ can be a big turnaround for them. But we do have a break before we get into this LCQ control. We're going to toss it over there when we come back. Map 3, Akron Zips up 2-0. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everybody, to week 2, day 1 of the CCL. We just got off that search and destroy. What a big comeback out of Akron. It was down 3-1. They go undefeated off of the reset, and they win 5 rounds in a row on Mercado search and destroy to go up 2-0 in the series score. Now Rutgers, if they want to win this match today, they want to turn this around, it's got to be a full reverse sweep.
Yeah, it does. Look, again, we talked about it before we went to a short break. Mercado was really not close. Rutgers had a glimpse of hope at the very beginning of the game. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was after they were able to come from north to south and just be able to break in towards bottom cantina for those spawns for P2 and hold down majority of the middle of the map.
Their gun started off hot, but I guess the tale of the story was really more Akron started off slow. They were able to find their way after, I don't know, say P3, P4, and that hard point just never looked back for them. 100-point game between the two teams there, not close really ever after like P2. And now you look to another respawn here where after the S&D, like things look good for about 3 straight rounds, and then Akron won another 5 straight. You can blame that on whatever you will. Oh, my mental's chalked, this, or that. You had 5 rounds to adjust. You didn't. So that's the bottom line for that. Now you go to an LSCLO control where, yeah, Akron are the better team in the series right now. And if Rutgers are wanting to step up and force a map number 4, you're going to have to beat this very, very strong team in their best mode, who is also trying to fight for the top of their division still.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. We had a chat prediction going. There's 170,000 points to the 7,000 against Rutgers Esports. You know, it's a lot of the chat right now favoring Akron going into this map 3. Rightfully, I mean, they've looked lights out. They've looked untouchable. Last time we were in a respawn, you know, Elite went 33-15. He went 15-5 at one point. You had both Thieves and Elite both getting cruise missiles, so Rutgers, we're going to have to see if they can turn this around and look like a brand new team inside of this LSCLO control. Starting off with Chatter. Okay. Oh.
Well, again, that's who we just called Elite. If you are just joining us, first two maps inside of the Best of 5 series, he has been the shining hope and the beacon of this Akron Zips team, except for the S&D. Last 5 rounds, they were all Kaiser. Regardless of the fact, though, Elite has been fantastic, but there's no better way to open up a control round here than with a nice little snap across and a jump challenge out of the middle A doorway for Elite. Everybody else trying to just make their way back over towards B right now to try and get this Rutgers team off of it. But that first tick and a half going to come through. They won another gunfight here at the site. Not careful here. Could walk away with at least 2 ticks of B.
Surprisingly enough, Rutgers has Akron a little bit cross-eyed right now. They don't know where to go. You know, half a tick of progress over towards B and a full tick already secured and cemented. This last segment at A is getting worked on, and Aiden's caught a little bit out into the open. Ryuka's going to catch some ears onto Kaiser on the outside, but it's Jayhem ultimately to close the doors on this A segment. You got him 2 minutes and 13 seconds to pick up B. Akron in the blender at the moment. I mean, this turnaround is exactly what you needed. If you're Rutgers, they're going to clear off the last remaining players, so they hope to clear off the last remaining players. Jayhem going to get in. Wins the big one there onto Elite, and round number 1, Rutgers Esports. I mean, wow, okay, that's a very strong way to bounce back in this game.
All right, wow. I mean, this is the first time I've had something extremely positive to break down with the Rutgers. That was perfect. They ping-pong between A and B the entire time. Forced Akron to come off the spawns, but the biggest thing, they were winning their one-on-one gunfights across the map. It wasn't the fact that they needed big trades, it was they were winning their one-on-ones, and you see JM at 5-2, but 4 straight, hybrid at 5-2 as well. Akron really didn't have any sort of chemistry back and forth. They were just kind of split between where they wanted to go. They didn't know if they wanted to clear off A, clear off B, and by the time that they were just trying to split their forces, those zones got captured.
Yeah, and you know, that shining beacon of Akron Zips Elite. I mean, after that opening kill in the chatter, he goes 0-5 in round number 1. So you talked about the keys to victory for Rutgers Esports. Shutting down Elite was a big talking point, and they do exactly that. And what do you know? A round victory here in the control hybrid. Looking to collect some skulls into the spawns of Akron. Those shut down quickly and swiftly. Elite will lead his team out of the spawn and towards that A zone. Only one person's going to be here, Ryuga.
Drop down. A-zone progress starting to make its way forward. A closes the doorway. You got one challenging on through. That's going to be beautiful team shots there. And now back to the respawn block on the outside of the map. You've cut down the flank. Now you all just have to turn around, force your way to the other side of the map, look exactly where they're coming off the spawn, and now start making your way over towards B because you've got A swarmed.
And here's the difference between round 1 and round 2, Corn. I mean, you were talking about the ping-ponging from Rutgers. We're not getting them from Akron. They're not finding any success over towards B. They found the 2 ticks at A. But now they're running low on those lives quickly. I mean, with 40 seconds left, you only have 19 lives, and you're expending a lot just to get this A zone. By the time you capture it, if you do capture it, you can only imagine what we're looking at for Akron Zips. Chatter's still looking to catch a few of these players over towards green. Aiden shot down at A, so everything's going to be riding on this B point.
I mean, this is big. You get all your bodies out over towards B on the north side of the map. If anybody can slip the net out here from Akron and get back over towards A, you're in such a good position because not only can you start capturing both of the zones, but you add that extra bit of time and continue to stop the clock. Rutgers just make a great play, though. They, again, win their gunfights over on the point and now force Akron a 15-second timer to get A and just try to capture one of the 2 points.
They need to go to A. That's a big opening from Kaiser. Hybrid's only player here. Somebody's up into the top 10. It's Thieves. Thieves locks down 2, so that should be the A zone gone. But I talked about it, you know, if they do capture A, how many lives would we be looking at for Akron? Well, they got 13 compared to the 17 of Rutgers, and now a minute to capture all 3 segments over towards B. I mean, we've seen plenty of upsets on LSELO. All it takes is one swift 4 wipe.
Eden has slipped in all the way through the back line. And I don't know if they are still concerned about Fees being over here towards the A zone, and it doesn't look like they are. Off-screen engagement between 2 and 5 in the bottom left corner. That's going to be basically the biggest one, because if Thieves can win that gunfight, he can get around all the way through the back line, and then they can make this pinch back over towards B. This is big. 3 lives. They've dwindled it down from what was the 6-life advantage to the defensive side. Raigo will fall. Oh, this is perfect.
Oh,
B zone going to be open.
Suddenly, you're fumbling all your spaghetti onto the ground if you're Rutgers, and you don't know what to do. You're spawning all the way back to the A side of the map. You have 1 player towards B. It's J-Ham needing to go big for the squad, but Thieves up top. Thieves up top finds 2. Maybe a third onto the hill. No, there's the break for Rutgers to look to get back into this one. Slow progression at B. Kaiser's the only one on it for now. He's going to back off from Dice, but he's got a 1v2 to win, and he's got attack in hand. Locks down both kills. Last segment getting worked on. Spawns for Rutgers all the way in no man's land. Nobody's going to get there. Akron, they bounce back.
That all starts with Aiden slipping through the cracks and being able to pinch the zone with the rest of the teammates coming off a spawn, and then Thieves having that route, stays silent, stays alone by the radio tower, cuts through the spawn side, is able to cut a few players down. 7 spree, now streaks to work with, and you had Kaiser, who was able to double back and win a huge 1-on-2 gunfight towards the front of that point. Not only did they stall that clock out, they got the lives back even between the defense as well, and that is a beautiful round for Akron to show off their attributes and their skill set, but Rutgers can respond with another offensive win here.
12 and 10 for Hybrid, 12 and 8 for J-Ham. Big map right now for the 2 of them, but both Ryuga and Chatter struggled in that second round. Gonna need that full collective back in round 1 if Rutgers wants to repeat with another offensive win here on LSELO Control. They're gonna look to A right away, but Elite's already in your spawn, and you have to turn around and clear him now, because as soon as you get to A, you got Thieves up top, watching, waiting, and shutting you down. A lot of kills off the opening are gonna go to Akron. Thieves gets the cruise missile, by the way. He has that kill streak for B when they do need it. And right now for Rutgers, they're not finding those opening kill successes until now. They get the break and move to B. Starting to collect some time here. And Hybrid gets the best of Aiden.
It looked like they were trying to set up the same thing as well. Hybrid didn't go back over towards A, but this time Akron going to be able to win the majority of their gunfights here, get these players off of the B zone for the initial time, but also still have their reinforcements over at A. This is the big crucial difference between the last 2 rounds. Gunfights being won for Akron, opposed to it going the opposite way. Rutgers need to put themselves in positions to be able to find trades, and they do that in that situation there. Ryuga is able to find 1. But now, really, you just have to send all your forces over to this A site. B is completely locked down, and if you're not able to hold on A here, at least stop the clock out. Akron's looking at a defensive round win in easy fashion.
19.8 seconds. Elite's going to make this a little bit harder, slowing the progression over towards A. Chatter all alone, surrounded by Zips players. He's going to be surrounded and collapsed on, and nobody really in a situation to really turn this around for Rutgers. You got J-Ham looking to make a last-ditch effort. Stops the clock again, 13.3. Attack in hand, but he's got no teammates. Caught by Thieves inside of lockers. It's another 3 in a row for Akron. Chatter now the farthest one pushed up. You have to go against the clock right now. You have to go against the world if you are Rutgers in this round. And Akron, they just won't let another offensive round slip between their fingers. They're going to go up onto match point inside the control.
Yeah, at the end there, it was just a decision that Rutgers made off a spawn. You know, they had an option. They're like, okay, do we send forces B or do we go back A? And when you have all of Akron on the defense pushed so far up the map, they're basically not going to allow you to have any sort of room to work with. You're just running into pre-aims because the time's dwindling down. But that decision to go back towards A just proves to be the costly one, because there was more people set up towards that south side of the mini-map than anywhere else around this LSELO control map. And it doesn't pay out for him. So Akron going to walk away with a round win there, but that's going to bode extremely well for the Zips if we do go to that coveted round 5, because they have gotten, well, at least so far, a ton more coverage on that offensive side when it comes to tick progression.
You go 1-for-1 in offenses. Akron shuts down the defense in their second go around. Can Rutgers mirror that and send this all the way to round number 5 and hopefully push this series into a map 4 Hydro? Ryuga's on the flank. All the way up top. A lot of emphasis over towards B, but nobody from Akron are really looking to step into one of these zones. They're just looking for the kills. They go 1-for-1. Elite's going to jump out into the open. Chatter shuts that down. Back and forth trades from either side, but it's going to get Akron into the spawns here for Rutgers. See if you can pull a couple of these more kills away.
Rutgers starting to make its way over on A. You're going to dip your toes in the zone and force Rutgers to start making a play back over towards the site with you. But it's 2 kills that go the way of Akron that are going to allow them to really start honing in on this point, because now over at the radio tower, you have Thieves up there once again, and he can play Outlook for his player who's just inside of the point. And you're going to get the contestation notification here now. And as Ryuga comes around the corner, Aiden will snap onto him. Kaiser there as well. 3-to-1 trade. Akron holding on over towards A. They're going to get that second tick of progress relatively uncontested.
3 in a row. If you stack this might just be gone. You got to chalk this up if you're Rutgers and put all your eggs in the basket. That is that B zone. And hopefully with a minute 40, you're looking for that round 5 and instead of packing up your things and headed home with a map series loss against the Akron Zips, and things are just looking a little bit worse for wear right now. You have life's advantage if you are Akron. Gotta dig deep here if you're Rutgers, and that's exactly what you need. 3 in a row. You shut down both players. Top patio. Only player in the back line is going to be She Loves Aiden.
Win condition for Rutgers right now, it just doesn't feel like it's going to come down to the life count. It feels like it's only going to come down to the time here. If you can hold Akron off for the last couple of seconds here, you got 60 seconds before the clock expires. If you can just hold the line until that point, stop as many contestants from coming in as possible, it's going to be big. But as Chatter pops the dead silence and starts to make his way up the map, these lives are starting to fall. This clock is going to stop here now as Akron's on the point.
Jam from up top. Wipes the point. Looking for the spawn. No, he doesn't account for Thieves. Just hiding behind the truck. Locks down a big 2-piece. Opening up the zone to look to get progressed on. One segment already locked in for the team. No trophies down. Maybe Thieves is going to get overwhelmed with the utility. Akron, they have to back off of this for now. They have to look for the kills. Kaiser caught a little bit into tools without his gun up. With the knife out, it's up to Aiden. 1 versus 3. Can't get it done. And Rutgers, they stay alive for now.
Still down by 2 lives, though, and it's only a tick of progress you need. What Akron did there is they wasted lives on Rutgers while only taking about 15 seconds off the clock. This is going to give them so much time to work at least 2 more plays, but it has to be quick here with this first hit if they want to have a second opportunity if this first one falls. And with that first player getting knocked off the board, it's going to come down to Elite here who's trying to work a flank, but they are so aware of this, and they're going to knock down Thieves first.
Yeah, but it's only down to 1 life differential. Now none. We're tied 11 lives each, and it's 15 seconds to go. Somebody's got to hop on this hill soon. They're losing lives. They're losing players. They have no teammates. Ryuga finds Aiden down into duels. Last second now for Akron to shut this down in 4, to shut down this series.
Oh my God.
3. Oh, Swift Elite's going to open that door. Now it's Hybrid. You got to go big. Hybrid finds 2. One last player on the inside of that to dice. It's Elite finding all 3 inside of the zone. And Akron Zips a 3-0 sweep to turn things around and elevate themselves to a 2-1 standing here in the regular season.
Oh, that's heartbreaking there at the end. I mean, you got to give your flowers to Elite here. You pop 3 inside of the hill. You're the reason you break out. But like, I'll start by saying this. We'll break it down first, and then we'll talk about the pain point for Rutgers there. Akron, fantastic. You get off spawn. Again, I said they had 2 opportunities to push back over towards the hill. That was the second of the 2. You get control of the middle building. You don't show any bodies. You don't put any lives over towards the site to where you can get cut off by an AR trying to hold a power position. What does Elite do? He gets into the middle of the building. He finds that first kill, snaps out for a second. He doesn't need help. He's a 1-man army. He's just running up the map. And by the time he gets the 3rd, everybody's there pushing out of the building. It was an ambush that was just waiting to happen with these last couple of seconds. Rutgers probably were like looking away like, all right, we're good to go. We're fine. And they weren't. And of course, yeah, you had that last minute push there from Hybrid where he was able to find 2. He just ran out of ammo on the 3rd one. He probably wins that round if he doesn't pre-fire the last couple of bullets on the player beforehand.
I was going to say, Hybrid, he had the full making to ice up there for Rutgers to go to a game 5 or no, round 5. But Elite, sometimes he's too good. He just wins the impossible. in some of these games. And all 3 maps we see, you know, there's just a glimmer of hope for Rutgers Esports to, you know, send us the distance, you know, upset Akron in some of these map modes that we had. But at the end of it, just the overwhelming pressure that you get from Akron in some of these rounds. Aiden was turning up in that map 3. Kaiser, very consistent over these 3 maps. You had Elite doing Elite things the whole time. I mean, not very surprising against 20 and 20 in that map number 3, just when you needed him most. The 3 kills that he got to open up that B zone and really shut things down really kind of takes the cake for that whole series. What a game, what a match from Akron Zips. I mean, I talked about, you know, at the start of this day, you go 1-1 last week. They start this week with a 3-0 sweep. Now looking to completely turn things around in this regular season. Let's take a look at this scoreboard and really talk about what we got here, because at the same time, Rutgers, they didn't look too bad in that map 3. You had Hybrid 26 and 19 trying to do everything that he could.
Yeah, well, the thing is right, like, Hybrid and JM had 2 great first rounds, and then everything turned on its head because they couldn't find individual gunfight wins after that point. Like, it was like, what, 5-2 at the very beginning, and like everybody pretty much went negative almost at the end of the game there for Rutgers, except for Hybrid. And like, yeah, it was great. You know, he had some big kills here and there, but like even at the end there, like a couple more kills that you were trying to like tally on, although it was almost a huge play, you still lost the round because nobody else could slay out with you. So like, I can talk about individual performances all day, but as long as you walk away with an L, it doesn't really matter who performs at the highest extent, as long as you can correct those issues going forward. I mean, other side of the coin, Akron, everybody pretty much playing the exact same across the board. Really just solid gameplay from them throughout the entirety of the control. But it speaks volumes to me how Rutgers were able to play in the first round comparatively to the last 3 rounds. I don't know what kind of confidence they had in that first round. Maybe it was like the first 2-3 kills that came through. But when everybody's able to get good timing, find their gunfight wins, it's great. But the second that Akron starts swarming around the map and they start getting themselves set up in the positions that they want to be in, Rutgers fell flat. They had no answer for it. And again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it literally comes down to not being able to play with your teammates and not finding opportunities for trades. That is the bare minimum bottom line that you need to have on a team that is going to make any sort of push to the playoff spot at the end of the year. And if we don't see that from Rutgers, nothing is going to change, and it's just going to be another year of shortcomings for this organization.
It's just things you got to work on going into the remainder of this season. But here we get to look back at what we had for the series. Only 3 maps needed for Akron Zips to take the series, 250 to 150 in the Mercado Hardpoint. Search and Destroy, a little bit lackluster at first, but then Geyser turns up, 6-3 win, goes up 2-0 over to the El Asilo Control. They go 4 rounds, they close out, they close the series in a 3-0 fashion against Rutgers Esports. Corin, I mean, one thing you talked about, you know, at before map number 2 is how Akron could easily be, you know, a top 2 team in this division, and you know, they look good. I'm very impressed with what we get out of the Akron Zips right now, with a team that just made roster changes this year. I mean, this wasn't the original roster that they had going into the 2023 year, and the fact that they're looking as good as they are, they're just a team that looks to get better and better every week.
I mean, this is the team you're looking at without Bio, right? Bio was like one of those guys, like, you know, you can ask like anybody within like the CCL community and say like, okay, yeah, Akron, oh yeah, Bio, dude, I can't wait to watch him play this year. Academically ineligible to play this season, and well, at least right now. And I mean, with the changes that they made, bringing up a couple guys from, or excuse me, bringing up Aiden from the Academy roster, pairing him with everybody else. You know, he was a shining star on that Academy roster, but he stepped up to the plate. It's going to take some time for him to get adjusted to playing against, you know, the top teams, say like a Fisher or a Farmingdale at the top of your division. But with a big matchup, you know, coming down the line against Fisher in the coming weeks this season, you know, that loss to Farmingdale, you still took a map off of them. There's something to be said about that. If you were a bad team, or you were a mid-pack team or a bottom-pack team, you probably don't take a map off of Farmingdale. But since you take that control off them, and it wasn't like a 3-2, it was like a 3-1, that speaks volumes about the potential that this Akron Zips roster has when everybody's playing on the same page and they have all the cylinders firing at the right time. Do not count out this Akron Zips team. They're slowly becoming a very cohesive unit. Yes, it's only been 2 weeks, and there's only been 7 days of time between the last time we saw them and seeing them now against what hasn't seemed like a great Rutgers Esports team this year. But nonetheless, it doesn't take away from what Akron has done just in the adjustments they made from last week to this week. Everybody was playing like they were in those last 3 maps throughout the entirety of this best of 5 series, and I hope that continues going forward, because it's going to be a scary team if it does by the end of the year.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Corin. Folks, we got match number 2 coming up soon. It's going to be Alabama Crimson versus Newberry. But before that, I want to give some thanks to our sponsors with America's Navy. The Navy offers more than 60 career fields in leading-edge areas such as nuclear engineering, special warfare, cryptology, information systems, and healthcare. There are also enlisted career paths in fields that are not widely associated with the Navy, including music, journalism, culinary arts, marketing, law enforcement, and even sports. So if you check them out, the Navy allows a college education at their expense. So check it out. Show some love to our sponsor. We got match number 2 coming up soon, folks. You don't want to miss it. We're here with week number 2. We'll see you on the other side.